Hey traders, Nick here, revisiting Lucid. LCID is the ticker. So what? Excuse me, I'm getting over COVID here. So last time I looked at this company, I did a video with it in Tesla. It was December 9th. It was on this candle. It had just lost this. So my goal today is an update to that. So at first, I will tell you that the whole market is on shaky ground, even though the last few days we've had a good bounce. So I mentioned this just because to remind us that this company is not trading in a vacuum. So if the market's correct, and there is a scenario, I won't go into it, there is a scenario that takes the S&P down another 10 to 15% from the lows that we just had. That's not my scenario, but it's there. So if politicians go ballistic with the headlines, if we have World War III, if Russia invades blah, 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 and the U.S. gets involved, you can see it. It could happen. We don't know what's going to happen. But if the market's correct, this one is not done falling. Let's keep an open mind. So I'm not offering investment advice. What I'm offering is fans of the stock who don't know charts or want a second opinion on charts, some levels that will matter. Maybe they can use those levels to manage expectations. So let's see how we got here. So on 12.9, I don't know if they had it. I can't remember. For some reason, I want to say the company diluted its own stock by announcing convertible notes or something. Maybe that was it. I'm not sure. But for whatever reason, it lost a support level. Losing that support level, I noted at the time, it's probably headed to below 30. I should say it could head towards 30 or lower based on the technicals. And the bulls could have defended it, and they did to a degree, and then they let go of the ghost. And then this is where somebody, I can feel it, emotional already by what I just said. But it was not the market. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah, the market helped it out. The last 3 weeks, that correction in the market from early January was insanely unreasonable, and it happened pretty quickly. So this stuff is not through fault of its own, but it doesn't matter, right? A loss is a loss, and machines don't care. Machines know that there was a weak point, and they took advantage of it. Period. End of story. You don't have to believe me. I'm just telling you. If I didn't tell you on December 9th that below 30 is possible, does it matter how it was possible? It's just that it was possible. And I said it would have support somewhere in the middle, and look at these bounces, almost exactly where I pointed at. You can go back and watch the video, and you will see exactly what I'm talking about. But I also said a dip into these levels is a buying opportunity. Why? Because that was the breakout area from which they took off like a banshee. Is that a statement? Banshee screams, doesn't take off. Okay, so they took off like a bat out of hell, to quote Meatloaf. So it's back to the base. Anybody that missed it, why aren't you in already? That's my reason, my initial statement. Okay, so if I ever wanted to get engaged for Lucid stock for the long term, for whatever reason, I'm not a proponent of it. I'm saying if I ever, this would be the area where I start thinking about it. And caveat number 2, I would not go all in, because if Lucid loses this line for whatever reason, through fault of its own or not, it's going much, much lower. How much lower? I don't want to tell you, but it could lose 20, and that's not my forecast. But it's technically feasible and a few bucks below that, through no fault of its own. I know the cars are awesome. They're starting to deliver the first batch of incredible cars, and everything's set on track. Stock price action doesn't care. It cares of the drag that comes from the overall markets and where it has its own support. So if the market's correct, they will try to hold this. If they lose that, the loss of this level has 18 written all over it. It doesn't need to go there, but that is the target. It has support here now and support here. 22 would be pretty compelling, in my opinion. The base right there. If not that, then it fills these gaps, and the base, of course, would be awesome. Not so good for those who are long already, but that's how it is. So from April 23rd, whatever that day is, watch this. You're going to see a lot of lines. I'm going to focus your eyes on one area. That candle right there, 2/23, not April, February 23rd, early in its year. That candle, that box, is one candle in one day, that whole box. And they just are trying to get back into it. So that region has been super important since then. So we have to respect it. So let's talk about resistance on the way back up. I would expect that starting 32 through 34, just under 34, they will have sellers lurking. Those who bought the dip will be very tempted to get out. Those who were stuck up here would be very tempted to get out. It was an area, a problem area. Repeat the same comments at 38. So when it gets here, if I'm not long, I should wait to see. They're probably going to fade a little bit, get long back around 30 to try to get to 38. So expect sellers between 32 and 34. That's the comment. Expect support at 25.6 here. And if you lose it, that's a catalyst for the bears. If the sellers show up here, the bulls need to maintain higher lows so they can swoon back up, take it out, and deal with the next level, which is somewhere around 37, 38. These two candles right here, this zone, that's the highest volume area by far. Excuse me, getting over the COVID here. This guy. Look at these two volume bars, way bigger than anything else. So they're not going to be easy on the way up. Why? Because history says people love to trade it here. And they love to trade it, they're going to create congestion. So if the rally is going, it's going to hit a traffic jam, slow down in there. Slog. Doesn't mean it dies there, just slog. And look at it, it makes sense. Lower highs, that would be higher lows, they will come to blows here. So it's okay to stall. So now I've given you support and a catalyst wrong, resistance potential, and the fight. The dog fight is going to be up here. So maybe management will come out and just slice through that with some sort of a headline. Maybe management will come out and dilute its own stock and slice through that. You don't know. Maybe World War III will break out. I keep reverting to it because the, quote, experts in the media keep littering the news with, oh my gosh, what if this happens? What if that happens? I don't listen to news. I haven't listened to news in almost 2 years now. I trade the charts. I trade the fundamentals. And that's it. That's all I need. The news will take care of itself. All right. So that's the whole shebang. None of this stuff is trading advice, by the way. And as far as me, what I think of the company, fundamentally, the car is super attractive, super popular. I'm pretty sure they're going to sell out of every car they can make, which brings me to the second point. They started delivery, but I think that was a special batch. I don't know when or if have they started delivery of the normal runs and what's the capacity. I read in a couple places that the maximum they can produce is 34,000 cars. So if that's the case, you want to do your math to make it realistic. And their cars are pretty expensive. So the sales line is going to be pretty expensive. I don't know the profitability levels. All I can say is Tesla is the king. I can't talk about Lucid killing Tesla before it kills NIO. NIO produces, I think, 55 to 60,000 vehicles a year. Not the same car, of course, but unit sales, they are the second king. They are even bigger than GM and Ford. So those two will beat NIO pretty quickly because of the number of clients they have, GM and Ford. So Lucid is not in the same ballpark as Tesla from a competitive advantage, like a stock worthiness. So Tesla produces $6 billion in cash from its own operations. It produces $12 billion in gross profit out of $48 billion in sales. Ford takes it $135 billion in sales to produce like $13 billion. Tesla does 11 or 12 from 48. That's how efficient Tesla is. So Lucid and Tesla are not in the same stock category. So if you want to compare it to Ford, GM, or even NIO with unit sales. Cars, hey, technology on Lucid's side, slick looking, I believe probably the longest range, but it's 150 Gs too. So the longest range one, the 500 and something miles. 150,000 for a car, that's the niche market by definition. I think the cheapest car they have is 80-ish, 70 to 80. 70 if the list price is 70, in my experience, in any car I've ever considered buying, you go to the dealer, you can't get out within 10, 15,000 of that number, correct? So anyway, so don't compare it to anything. Trade it on its own is what I'm saying. All right, out. Oh, by the way, I enjoy the comments if you keep it clean. We can discuss it. I'm pretty sure you know more about the company itself fundamentally than I do. So throw me up down there and tell me, oh yeah, you were wrong about the production. They're already producing the runs and whatever. That'd be great. Then I will incorporate your notes. I'll verify them and incorporate them in my future videos. But the point is, I'm trying to help with the levels. And I know more about the levels than you do. Hey, challenge issued. Nick out.